Hello, and welcome to Treasure Expeditions. I'm your host, Terry Saunders. On this episode of Treasure Expeditions, I film wildlife like a roadrunner in southern Utah. Also, I filmed several buck in the snowy conditions of Colorado. On this episode of Treasure Expeditions, I visited St. George, Utah Park. I talked to a couple about where they travel. Annette talks about visiting the park when she's not working on her business. Annette says more about her dog.
Oh, because I have a puppy that is, we didn't want a puppy, but my son said he wanted me to have a puppy. So it's one from his litter, and it's a French bulldog, and she just loves to run. They have these things called zoomies, and you saw how fast she goes. I mean, she's just like, whoo! So we get that nervous energy out of her, and then by the evening we can get her to settle down.
Annette reveals some of her favorite hobbies.
We scuba dive, and we used to travel a lot, but we haven't been. But the one thing we love to do is we have e-bikes, and so we'll load our e-bikes in our truck and we'll just take off, and then we go on an app that shows us where these trails are, and we'll just go and do like a little 5-mile ride, and then we'll go and find a restaurant and then a hotel, and we just go wherever our fun leads us.
Bassett says more about biking.
Love our e-bikes because on our e-bikes are mountain bikes, so we do off-road e-biking, and the trails that are around here are just amazing.
Bassett says the bikes offer a freedom.
Thing about them is that we can go where we went 30 years ago. You know what I mean? Because our physical, I mean, I'm in my 70s, and my husband is too. And so to be able to go and do what we did when we were 40 is such a blessing. So yeah, that's what we do.
Bassett discusses off-roading.
We do a lot of buggy riding, you know, the side-by-sides.
Bassett says there's a neat place to explore.
Okay, so Bryce Canyon has a little paved trail. If you didn't, most people don't know this, you can rent e-bikes there. And there is a little paved trail that goes all the way through the park, all the way up, and you can stop and do the overlooks all the way up. And then there's a restaurant halfway up if you wanted to do that. And there's this one little place that is west of the park. It's way out of the park. It's not Ruby's Inn, but you go, my husband could tell you the name of that road, that just before you turn to go up to the park. And I mean, her rooms are like $60 a night, and they're really big. They're not fancy, but they're very clean. And we go there at least once a year.
Bassett says Death Valley is a place to make discoveries in California in the spring.
Other thing we love to do, and we've been doing it annually, if you can believe this, is Death Valley. And last year was so amazing. I was on a plane coming from DC, and I was talking to this man from Germany, and he said, yeah, I heard about Death Valley having all this rain last year. And I said, you got to be kidding me. He goes, yeah, it made worldwide news because it had never had that much rain in over 100 years. We'll never see that much rain again over there. And I mean, there were wildflowers knee deep everywhere. I've got a picture of me standing with my hands out, touching these daisies and just walking. It was magical, walking through these wild flowers. And then there is, you go from snow down to the lowest part of the desert. We went from 90 degrees to 30 degrees in one afternoon. That's how unusual that place is. It's amazing. You should go there and do an interview in Death Valley because it's like the lost golden goose.
Bassett says the spring is the season to visit Death Valley, so there aren't extreme temperatures.
Hot in the spring. You never want to go there in the summer, but go in the spring or in the fall, and it's amazing. We'll probably take a trip there in a month.
We went when it was really hot.
Don't do that. It's not worth it.
Annette and her husband went to look in the entrance of mines. Remember, going in a mine is dangerous.
The only place you can go in is only like a little ways. I mean, they've got them blocked off and stuff, and so you can only walk in just a certain way. But you can go through these piles of rocks that are left by the overburden and the stuff, and you can find all kinds of really cool gems and things. Yeah, you would have to dig for tons in the earth to find what their leftovers are, and there they are in a pile. And I mean, I've got some really cool rocks that we found. We love to go through old mines rocks because you find all kinds of cool stuff. People travel all over and do that just to find rocks.
Bassett talks more about the refinery.
These little domes that they built, what they did, there's all kinds of mines, old mines. It's like this big exploring thing. Oh my gosh, I can show you things with these mines where we walk through and stuff. It's really cool. But there's these domes that they built to do charcoal because they had to burn for the refinery. They had to burn really hot, so they had to make their own charcoal. So these old domes are still intact, and you can go through them and stuff. It's kind of cool.
They're just built out of rock and they're domed.
And then when did they use them, like in when?
What they do is cut wood and stack it inside and then build up a fire underneath and then seal it up, and the heat creates charcoal. So charcoal will burn at a higher temperature than regular wood will.
So why do they do that? What's the purpose?
To get the temperature up so that they can smelt ore.
Okay.
So they're by mines.
They got to get it high enough that the metal is liquid.
Yeah.
So basically what they do is they put their ore through a stamp mill and grind it up and then put it in a furnace, and the metal pours off of it.
Bassett says there's one memorable discovery.
Well, we found a meteor one time. We were driving our buggy, and we went past this one rock, and we stopped and we picked it up, and it was a meteor.
Bassett talks about how her and her husband found out more about the meteor.
Oh, we talked to somebody at a college. It looked like my husband. He knows what he's looking at. I don't.
Annette's husband talks about where to go to make discoveries.
Yeah, I just finished a book by Kevin Fedarko called A Walk in the Park, and it's about traversing the Grand Canyon. But if you go straight south of here out onto the Arizona Strip, there's all kinds. If you go out past the Bar 10 Ranch, you can go to within about a half-mile hike to the Colorado River
And hit the bottom.
and
Of the
get
Grand
right
Canyon.
down to the river. Further north, there's Mount Bellenbaugh, Kelly Point. Further west, there's the Grand Wash
But you were saying there's all kinds of what?
and the Grand Gulch Mine, where there's a couple of old trucks sitting out there that they used in the construction of the Hoover Dam.
Annette's husband talks about his off-roading experiences.
1,000 miles in 1 year. Tell them about the guy we
Over
found.
here at Black Rock, where the Black Rock exit, you're in Arizona, but it's before you go down into the Virgin River Gorge. It's that last intersection and bridge before you go down into the gorge.
Yeah.
If you go south, you can go up onto the mountains that are east of Mesquite, up into the, I'm trying to think of what it is. I think it's a Paiute wilderness area.
Annette and her husband say more about scenic Pine Mountain.
I haven't spent any time there.
And there's not much there. There's not a whole bunch of access to it. It's just a mountain, you know. There is a lake up there, and there is a campground up there, and there is up in Pine Valley. There's some houses up there. Well, we have spent some time. We've done some buggying up
A
there.
little bit.
Annette's husband says there's a scenic place in the Grand Canyon.
You go over to Fredonia, Arizona, like you were driving to Kanab, but you don't go to Kanab. You just stay on Highway 89A. And just on the east side of Fredonia, there's a forest road marked 222. I think it's either 22 or 222. I can't remember. I think it's 22. That takes you on the western half of the Kaibab Forest. And there are multiple roads that go out onto the fingers of the Grand Canyon. So you can go out to those points and get magnificent views of the Grand Canyon. My favorite is Crazy Jug Point. It's the best of all of them.
Annette's husband says he likes to be outdoors.
Hunting and fishing and really diverse wildlife in Utah.
Annette's husband says there's a nice place to vacation.
Most memorable vacation was scuba diving in Turks and Caicos on South Caicos.
Annette's husband says more about the diving conditions.
Just pristine, undamaged, but that's been 20 years ago.
Annette's husband says there are safety concerns for the outdoors.
Going out in remote areas in an untrustworthy vehicle, not letting people know where you're going, and a return time. So if something happens, they come looking for you.
There are safety tips.
Wear a wide-brimmed hat to protect me from the sun.
He has an old man.
Yeah, I have an
Curly
old
hat.
man hat. And I wear, good
Long
shoes,
sleeves.
long sleeves.
What are some safety tips for hiking or being outdoors?
Always bring water and know where you're going.
Leave your earbuds home
Yeah.
and your headphones home.
Yeah.
Makes me crazy. People out on trails where they need to pay attention to what they're doing and they're not.
Annette's husband says he participates in kind acts. There's a National Kindness Day.
The biggest part is how you treat people. And I believe in treating all people with kindness and respect, no matter who they are. And that goes a long way.
Don't forget to take in the magnificent views on your travels.
Quite honestly, Pine Valley and Pine Mountain, we don't go there very often. It's crowded and it's not all that pretty. So I would much rather go south out on the Arizona Strip or up to Bryan Head or over to Bryce Canyon. Bryce Canyon has a fantastic bike trails.
For Wire Ride TV, I'm Terry Saunders. Remember, the greatest treasures are the memories you make along the way.